Okay, so we're at our community garden, and there's a question about identification of plantain, the Plantago species, Plantago major, Plantago lanceolata. This is Plantago in our garden. It's an organic community garden, so no pesticides you have to worry about in that. But this is what it looks like at the base. It's kind of purplish here at the base. The seed heads are coming up, they're flowering. And the seed heads, even though they're tiny, you can harvest these when they're turn a little bit more brown and grind them up to make a flower. The young leaves, these are getting really mature, but the younger leaves, the smaller leaves, are really tasty as a pot herb. You know, you just put some water, salt, a little butter, and boil them. Or you can eat the plant raw. And again, I've done plenty of videos on the medicinal properties on the use of plantain. It's very, I use it as a major ingredient in the salve that I make. But I'm just showing this for identification purposes because there's lots of other plants around here, and to be able to spot it on the landscape amongst other different plants. We got some yellow wood sorrel over here. Looks like we got some I'm not sure what this is. That might be coming from the garden, like a pepper plant that's coming up. There's other types of grasses. There's some dandelion right there. So, you know, even when you get down close to the ground, you can start to see that there's other plants around. There might even be some red clover in here somewhere, right? But anyways, this is again another nice looking plant. I've seen some of the leaves, some of them with the leaves that are about almost as big as my hand. So they get pretty big, especially in an environment that'll let them grow. Avoid getting the ones that are close to the street or major thoroughfare or growing out of concrete, and when their leaves look all crinkly and hard and that, they're probably not the best for you to eat or consume or make medicine out of. All right, so what we have here is plantain that I purposefully transplanted into our myoga box here. Myoga is on the balcony here. Myoga is a Japanese root vegetable that that we're growing. And it grows these long stalks like this. But I had a nice healthy one that I found. Looks like a bug got at it or something, but it's not a big deal because more is coming up. It's actually taking to the soil. I'm not really concerned with it interfering with the root vegetable of the myoga here. So, but just to show you again, these leaves are pretty big, and just to show you what they look like. Again, there's the ridges on the back. And it's the same plant, so you could harvest your own, and grow your own plantain. I'm not sure about the life cycle. I know it's seeds, it flowers and then seeds. I'm not sure if it's perennial, but I know that they grow in colonies. I saw a pretty big one at the garden, so I'll have to do a little bit of research on that to see if they are perennial or if they have a two life cycle or just a single life cycle, and then I'll put it in the comments. Okay, so I was just at the community garden and I was just showing what plantain looks like, not the banana but the leafy plant, the quote-unquote weed, Plantago major or Plantago lanceolata. And I'm just showing you some size. My hands are about medium size. I've seen some that are bigger, about as big as my hand, right? So this is how big the leaves can get. The utilitarian, I classify a lot of plants, useful plants, in three categories: the edibility, the medicinal value, and the utilitarian value. And the first 5 plants that I'd like to try to introduce people to have all three. Okay, plus they're very difficult to misidentify, and or they have no dangerous lookalikes. Okay, and plantain, okay, again, on the back of it, the leaves have these ridges. Okay, and the plantain is edible. It is very medicinal, and the utilitarian purpose that you can use is these little tiny threads here. Okay, so you can use these as fibers, like for even suturing or just small little tying projects, fishing line. I presume I would probably have to twist some of this for a leader so that it's strong enough to withstand maybe a decent sized bass or something like that. I don't think it will withstand like a northern pike or something like that with very sharp teeth. You might want to use tendon for that. But there are utilitarian uses for these little fibers that are in the ribs of the plants here. Okay, I'll see if I can extract one. So yeah, this is a pretty big plant leaf, and the fibers or the threads that they give, and there's still some more left, um, are pretty decent size. Okay, so this is one of the utilitarian purposes of plantain, this particular plant. That, you know, if you see on a bottle of Roundup, for example, those people that have to have the perfect lawn, artificial lawn. This is one of there's a little pull off on those quote unquote herbicides that are that show which plants that they kill. The majority of those plants that they show, and they show little pictures of them, are edible or utilitarian or medicinal, that grow right in your yard. All right, so just be mindful of that. And again, herbs. This is an herb, and side means to kill. So you're killing your herbs, you're killing your foods, just so you know. So I wish people would not be so vain and modern, convenient, comfortable society, because right now we're living in a day and age where things are getting a bit precarious. So again, I had an inquiry on my Facebook page about identification of plantains. So I'm showing plenty of pictures. It's a broadleaf plant with ridges. There's light side on one side. And also sometimes towards the bottom here, you can see there's a little purple there. Okay, you can pull it if you see the threads, and you know it's plantain. It doesn't really. It has a leafy taste. It's the older they get, the more bitter it becomes, the more tougher it becomes. You just have to boil it more times. But you get the younger leaves in early spring, or the younger parts from the basal rosette that it grows from, and those are perfectly fine. You can't eat it raw. In fact, you can bite the leaves just to make a. You can make a spit poultice by chewing them up in your mouth and putting it on a wound, a bee sting, a bite, a scratch, or something like that. Or you can actually make a quick band-aid by just biting them, snipping them with your teeth. A smaller leaf, of course, or maybe even a bigger one if it's a bigger wound. And then smacking it and holding it onto your skin for a while, and it actually sticks for a little bit. It actually sticks, and what it does is it draws out the infection, it draws out the venom, it draws out the poison. So sometimes if people get poison ivy or something like that, poison oak, or stinging nettle stings, and this is growing nearby, or mosquito bites, hornets bites, yellow jacket stings, not bites but stings, you can, this is usually lying around in most places, unless it's a perfect lawn, where it's been killed off. You can immediately use this, make a spit poultice, and I can testify that, at least from my experience, it alleviates the irritation and the pain almost instantaneously, because it's astringent, it draws out. So anyways, again, just to recap, I can't from an urban setting especially, I can't talk enough about plantain and its benefits, and this is just one of 5 that I like to focus on, that are pretty much found almost anywhere in the world. In different regions, I've been out east, I've seen the same plant, I recognize it, but it's more narrow leaves, so it's like lance, so it's Plantago, lanceolata. But once you get to know these plants, you get to see their cousins, and you're like, oh, that's the same plant. Just double check, make sure that it has the properties that you're familiar with. And again, we're in the information age. All you got to do is look it up, and there's plenty of apps that'll take a picture of the plant and whether the leaf, and it'll help you identify it. So there's no excuse to not know what's going on with the flora and the fauna.